Units is very simple. This is the hourly unit. So if I wanted to say I don't want to see amounts, I want to see units, I can bring in unit amounts. And of course, you don't want to format those as dollars. Sorry, I double click there. We'll delete that. We would then highlight that, come up here to insert, and actually make it more or less that way. And then down here at the bottom, I actually have two customized views for the client that this view was created for. And with this capability within ADSBI, we can bring in any user-defined fields that you have within your system and bring them into the views, and then you can take those user-defined fields and begin to pivot and do selections and do all kinds of drill downs with them. So very flexible. And then once we have created those views, they don't have to be recreated. You can use them within Excel, within Crystal, within SQL reporting services, within Access. Anything that's ODBC compliant, you can bring that data into. So that's the overview of the fields. You can see it's very easy to manipulate, and it's very quick. One of the other things that I wanted to show you today is the Medicaid dashboard that I have created. Now this one uses a couple things that are a little bit more advanced about the system. A lot of the predefined dashboards that I will create for clients will be like this. And so again, at the top you'll see we have filtering on different types of information. And then in the middle section, this is the actual pivot table itself, similar to what you saw me manipulating before. And then over here on the right hand side, and I've made the colors different, these are all views referencing off this table. So these are cells that basically look at this table and do some calculations. So this is the total Medicaid. So this is actually adding two columns together. And I think if I hit the F2 button, actually you don't see it, actually it's basically taking the projection amounts. It's taking the projected as it's paid as Medicaid and then projected as Medicaid and adding those two together. So it's adding these two columns together all the way down. So this is a good way for you to tell, specifically what is my total Medicaid right now plus my projection. Cumulative Medicaid tells me, okay, this is my individual monthly total. This is what I am going forward. So you can see here down at the bottom, there's not a lot of activity going on here. And then the cumulative non-Medicaid. So you have your Medicaid and non-Medicaid projections all the way down to the bottom. So those are good ways of a quick snapshot of things. But the real power of this too is that you can graphically represent this within the spreadsheet itself. So down below I've created three dashboards that will update based on the data above. So in the first one you can see it's more of a graphical trend information about Medicaid, total Medicaid, and then the red is the total between the two. So you can kind of see you're trending up and down. Now this is for a particular service category. At the top, I'm actually specifying what filters I want to see. So if I wanted to see all, I click OK here. Now you can see my numbers go up quite a bit. So in this view, you can see that's a lot more because I'm bringing in pretty much everything. That's a lot more stable, a lot more consistent. But if I bring in a particular service category like I did before, I can take away the all and I only want to bring in consultation. You can see my numbers might change, and actually in that case they went away. There was no consultation used. If I bring in, let's say, crisis intervention, you can see now that my data is updated, and so you can see that's a lot more inconsistent. You can see in January it's quite a bit different. My Medicaid actually went up quite a bit. Now, as you come down here, there's just different views that are created. This is more of a cumulative projections of that amount, so you can see those go up by month. So that's a different view of that, and here's more of a breakdown of that by color coding where they are in the billing cycle. So these are, or actually, I'm going to take that back. This is where they are within the projection itself. So you can see as things are getting paid, the numbers, these are all have been paid, so I know specifically what they are. As I'm moving through the billing cycle, you can see that in some of these other numbers, I don't know any of this stuff yet. I'm just projecting of what I'm getting at this point. So this is a good one to see kind of information of where we're at within, how accurate is my data right now. So that's a good way, and again, up here you can be changing staff names, HIPAA codes. It's a nice tool to have that gives you a quick representation of where you're at. Once you get used to this formatting, you can create your own spreadsheets, your own charts if you like, anything within the Excel suite of reporting you can bring into your spreadsheets. So that is an overview of the Medicaid projection file. Again, there are going to be 4 views out there, one for this year, this fiscal year versus last fiscal year, and then a 12-month rolling this year versus a 12-month rolling last year. So down in your charts, you can actually bring in 2 pivot tables that'll bring you in the numbers, and then what you'll be able to do is manipulate that data here below and show information versus this year versus last year. You know, how am I doing on a particular service? How am I doing in a particular category? How is the staff person's maybe mix versus Medicaid, non-Medicaid changed in the past year? So very powerful stuff. I appreciate your time, and happy charting.